Hey, this is Gina Grad.
Hi, this is Teresa Strasser.
Hi, everyone. This is Mike Errico.
Hey there. This is Casey Cavalier.
I'm Rocky Rose.
And you are listening to The Jay Franzi Show.
Lucky you.
Welcome to The Jay Franzi Show. A behind-the-curtain look at the entertainment industry with insights you can't pay for and stories you've never heard. Now, here's your host, Jay Franzi.
And we are coming at you live. I am Jay Franzi, and with me tonight is the Rachel to my Ross, my beautiful co-host, Miss Tiffany Mason.
Hello, Jay.
So if you would like to join in, comment, or fire off any questions, please feel free to visit jfranzi.com. All right, folks. Tonight we have a very special guest with us. I said it once, I will say it again. We have a very special guest. We have a country music or Americana recording artist. All depends on how you want to look at it. Hailing from the great state of Tennessee, we have Connor Daly. Connor, sir, how are you?
Good. How's it going? Thanks for having me on.
All right, let's just jump in. Let's start with it. You're from Virginia. You're living in Tennessee. Which do you like better?
Oh, man. Well, that's a loaded question.
I know. That's where we're starting.
Yeah. How are you going to make him choose?
Let's start right out of the gate, buddy.
It's a strong start. Well, obviously, you know, I love Virginia, and my family's still there, so I always love going back to visit them. And Virginia is obviously a beautiful state with the Appalachians and the trail going along the western side of Virginia. You know, for what I'm doing right now in the music business, Nashville is definitely a better place to be for that. So definitely good things about both places. So I don't know if I can pick or choose.
All right. Well, you're playing politics well.
You said Nashville is good for what you're doing now. What are you doing now?
Let's see. What am I doing now? I've been doing, a bunch of co-writes, writers rounds, and trying to play some shows. And then I'm recording some music. So pretty much all that stuff, it helps if you're in Nashville.
How long have you been in Nashville?
I've been in Nashville for 8 months now.
Okay. So you're still a baby.
Relatively new.
What part of town did you land in?
12 South area.
Not too shabby, huh?
Yeah.
Right there in the thick of things?
Yeah, the location is perfect.
Are you down in the gulch itself?
No, it's a couple streets off of actual 12 South area.
All right.
You can walk in.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Out of the gulch makes it sound like you're out of the flood zone.
No.
Yeah.
Is that what that is?
No, it's not quite the flood zone. And think of numbers going from 1 from the river. So you're going from 1 all the way up to 12. He's far enough out.
Okay.
Got it.
But the Gulch is a trendy area. It's beautiful, a bunch of restaurants and stuff. It wasn't always like that, but it is now.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. But it looks nice now.
Yeah, that's all that matters. Now's the time you're there. When I was there, it was not like that.
Yeah.
But that's all right. So you're making your way around Nashville itself, and you've had a chance within 8 months. You're playing some iconic venues, including the Bluebird. So we know the Bluebird is a place you go to listen to music. You get your hand slapped if you talk during a show. What was your experience like playing at the Bluebird?
It was very unique. I thought that I was going to be more nervous just because of how, much of a staple place it was to play. And, it obviously was a dream to play there. But it felt so casual at the same time because the writers' rounds is just 4 or so people just in the center of the room, just in a circle. And then just the sound system was so good, and it was a packed house the night that I was there. And for a packed house for the Bluebird, that's maybe 70 people. So it's not too many. But it felt very cool to play there. It was definitely a bucket list kind of place to play.
It definitely is. How nervous were you?
A little bit. In the beginning, I was a little bit nervous, but like I said, I wasn't as nervous as I thought I was going to be, just because the setup was so casual, and it just kind of felt like I was playing in a living room somewhere. So
it wasn't essentially is, right?
Yeah, and you can't really see everybody looking at you because they're all around you. So I guess that made it a little bit easier.
I imagine it's like a speech, right? Like you're super nervous before it, but you strum those first few chords or you sing the first few words and it's kind of off to the races in your comfort zone.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, obviously I don't get, as nervous as I used to just because I've done it a good amount, but there's always going to be those little nerves in the beginning no matter where I'm playing.
Yeah.
Were you surprised where the Bluebird was?
Yeah. It was in like a little tiny shopping center with like
It's in a little strip mall.
There's like a wedding dress shop and then was it like a haircut place or something, but it was very understated.
Oh yeah. But then the line goes around the corner or down the street there. And
Yeah, exactly.
and it's a pretty main street for a line to be going down the side like that and stuff, but
Yeah.
it's pretty cool. I like it.
Yeah.
I feel like it must be like going to the White House. Have you ever seen, like on TV, they show this massive building and then you go to DC and you see the front of it and it's like, that's the Capitol or the White House. And then you go to the back and then you see what you see on TV. But same idea where it's like this big iconic place and you're so excited and then you get there and you're like, not what I thought.
That's exactly how it was. Just like a little hole in the wall. It was cool.
It's an awesome place. I mean, it really is. And the fact that the people go there to truly hear the stories behind the songs and they sit back and listen. It is also a tourist place, so people go because they want to go see it. But most people are going because they want to meet the people who wrote the songs and hear the stories behind them. Yeah. So did you notice a difference between that audience compared to your normal audience?
Well, I guess like the main shows that I'm doing nowadays are like kind of 3 or 4 hour gigs. Right. So the audience of those shows are going to be a lot different than like a writer's round or like a listening room type kind of place.
Well, that was my next question for you is you've had a chance to play both the Bluebird and the listening room. So what was it like playing at the listening room and which do you prefer?
The listening room I was nervous for. And even when I started playing, I was nervous.
What made that different?
There was a lot of people. So there's more people at the listening room and you're like actually on a stage and like the lights are just super bright and it's so quiet, but like that there's a bunch of people out there, which was a weird feeling. And yeah, it just felt like a little bit more like I was in the spotlight, literally. I mean, they're so different.
Well, describe the differences to us.
Yeah, I've never been to either. So help our listeners paint the scene for us.
Yeah, for sure. So, I'm not a professional on them, but I've played one time at each of the venues. Sure. Yeah, the Bluebird, I guess like people think is more like an iconic type place. Like you kind of know what the Bluebird is, even if you're from a different country.
It's been on TV so many different times.
Yeah, for sure. And it's just been around so long and so many amazing legendary players got their start at the Bluebird Cafe. So I feel like that's kind of the main thing about the Bluebird. The
listening room is still new.
Listening room is it's newer. It's tough to get into the listening room. It's hard to get around.
As a spectator or as a performer?
As a performer.
Nice.
As a performer. Yeah, if you want to spectate, the listening room is much easier to get into than the Bluebird.
Okay, interesting. Yeah,
they're both good shows to go watch.
The Bluebird has been on TV. It's been in the TV show Nashville. It's on every documentary that ever has anything to do with Nashville. So it's got a very, very tourist-heavy crowd, and it's a very small venue. So it's a lot harder to get in there, especially on a good night.
Yeah.
Now, Connor, were you able to make your demands as the celebrity that you are in both venues, and who accommodated those demands better?
I didn't really have many demands when I was playing there.
She wants to know what color the M&Ms were.
Yeah, well, the listening room had a green room, and the Bluebird does not have a green room.
Okay.
So I guess the listening room wins that one.
Just by default.
Yeah, I mean, Bluebird's small. It's you just kind of have to just wait around, with everybody else, and then you go sit down, which is cool because it's kind of unique. Yeah, the listening room, it felt very professional to walk into the green room and have snacks, get drinks, and then we'll just walk out like onto the stage.
So which one did you like better?
You guys are asking tough questions. They're both cool. I think the Bluebird, honestly. I mean, it was just the experience of playing the Bluebird. I think I'd rather play there again.
Nice.
Just the ambiance of it.
It's all right to.
Were you the only one
favorites.
that played that night?
No, so I was on a round with 3 other people.
What does
Or-
it mean to be on a round? Do you all take one song at a time, or you play, then somebody else plays, then somebody else plays?
Yeah, so a writer's round, there's typically 3 or 4 people, and they just go down the line. They start with one person, you play a song, and then the next person, next person, next person. And then if you have like an hour-long slot, if you have 4 people, you play 3 songs. If you have 3 people, you play 4 songs. So it's,
Very cool.
yeah.
Sometimes it gets pretty interesting when they start playing with each other. So, he'll get up there and play, and then someone will start singing along with him or playing along with him. And
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, people.
Is that? I feel like that would, like, no, let me have my turn.
Yeah, a lot of people
it's
do
like family.
Yeah, a lot of people do kind of just start playing, especially if they like know the people up there and
Sure.
they know the songs that they're playing.
Did
But
that happen with you?
Yeah, sometimes. Like if there's like a really good guitar player or somebody like that on the stage, and they'll just figure out the key right away and just start playing along. So that's always fun.
It is pretty cool. And most of
Yeah.
them will play the little lead parts throughout the song. It's not like they're trying to be distracting. And then if somebody is good at harmonies, they'll pick up on what he's singing throughout the choruses, and then they'll jump into a little harmony part.
Yeah.
Nice. I would think it would calm the nerves a little bit too, just to have someone kind of, figuratively put their arm around you and say, "Hey, I'm here on stage with you, buddy."
Yeah, pretty much. Especially if they're playing like guitar alongside you, and doesn't make you as nervous to like mess up because
Yeah.
that's playing. It might block a bad note or something like that.
Well, that's a good
And you just say it
point.
was them.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
That's a good point. What kind of challenges did you have that night playing at the Bluebird?
I'm sure for songwriters that the hardest thing to do is to like play to a room of people who are truly listening to your song, whether they have to listen, like are forced to listen to the Bluebird,
Right.
or not. It just feels good to have people actually listening to your song. That's like the main thing that a lot of people do is songwriting. And I put, my heart and a lot of time into my songs, and people taking time to actually listen to them makes me feel good.
Yeah, of course. Now, compare that to the festivals you played, especially the ones in your hometown, Crossroad Festival.
Yeah.
What's it like playing a festival versus playing a venue like these?
Festivals are longer, and I don't want to say more fun, but there's more drinking that goes along with festivals. So
Right.
sometimes that makes it a little bit more fun. Yeah, the few festivals I've done, it's just I've done like short sets. So I go up and play like 4 songs and go back to having having fun.
Well, what's it like playing the one in your hometown?
It was cool. I grew up in Loudoun County in Virginia, and they had a Loudoun County music festival. And I know the guy who like runs it every year, and it's become like a really big festival in Loudoun County. And I played it last September. It was like 2 months after I moved down to Nashville, so it was like my first festival playing as like a Nashville musician.
All right. And how does that compare to the other festivals you've played?
It was cool. It was at like a winery, so it was kind of half about the wine and half about the music.
I'm starting to notice a pattern here.
Yeah, drinking. Yeah.
So,
Music and alcohol go hand in hand.
So this is where the challenges come in. I got it. No, it makes more sense now.
Exactly. Yeah.
This is making me think of a festival we're getting ready to have in our town, and I'm dying to go and just hear all the songwriter stories. Like, that's what I really want to get from it. But every time I go with a friend, they end up talking to me the whole time and getting drink after drink after drink. And I'm like, no. I don't want to go and have a drink fest. I want to go and have, a think fest. I want to go and feel these words that these artists have taken time to, develop these songs and evoke emotion out of us and say the things that we can't say, I just want to hear all the songs. But apparently, Connor, you as well like to have fun too.
Yeah. Work hard.
Yeah.
You know what they say?
Simple answer, folks.
Period.
Simple answer. Yeah, period.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, there's definitely different people that go to music festivals and stuff. People that
How many
don't-
people were able to show up that like family members or friends, or do you, obviously I would think in your hometown or your home county that you have a lot of local support. So did you feel like a lot of people came out? What was that like? Are you a local celebrity to your family and friends and even strangers maybe?
I am not a local celebrity as of now. But,
Okay, we're working on it.
Yeah. Other than like my
after
friends and
tonight, you
family,
will be. I mean,
That's what I was going to say after tonight.
for sure. Yeah. No. Thanks again.
Sorry, Connor.
Yeah. Other than like my friends and family, not many strangers are showing up to my shows quite yet. But that's going to change for sure.
That's going to change. I
Part of
see
the
it.
plan. Yeah.
how did you end up on the news?
He had a couple of drinks and he was having fun.
Yeah. I think like the biggest like news thing that I've thought was pretty cool was Loudoun County. They have a magazine called Loudoun Now, and they did like an interview, and the interviewer came out to like a show and took pictures, and then I was on the front page of Loudoun Now, which like goes all over Loudoun County, like right before I moved down. So that was like one of the coolest things.
Well, weren't you on news too?
Yeah. I wasn't sure which one you're referring to.
And before you go to that, though, is Loudon now the same as Maverick?
It is not.
So you're on the cover of Maverick as well?
Yes. Yep.
So what you're saying is you're a cover boy.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, okay. That's
There's no
awesome.
way around it.
So how'd you get on the news itself?
So when I put out my debut album last summer,
Colors Fade.
Colors Fade. Yep. It's a 12-song album. It's my debut album, and like around that putting singles out and around putting the album out, I was working with a PR team. So they were kind of getting me interviews and news stations and all that sort of thing. So that was really cool to kind of do all that stuff supporting the album.
Did you like it?
Yeah, I enjoyed most of it. I like writing songs. I like playing my songs, I like recording songs. I'm going to be honest, I like that stuff a little better than like, talking about it. But I'm sure every artist feels that way.
I would hope so. Dear God,
Yeah.
I would hope so.
Yeah, but I enjoyed it as much as the next person. I mean, I was lucky to get a lot of stuff.
Very nice.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty impressive, especially to be there in Nashville and be on the news, have a couple cover shots and stuff. I mean, it's pretty good.
Yeah. No, it felt very cool.
So we mentioned the album. Where did you record the album?
The album was kind of pieced together in a few different teams like I was working with, and a few different studios. But most of the songs got recorded at Castle Studios.
Franklin.
Yeah, Franklin. And then Dark Horse, a few of the songs were recorded there, and
So two really crappy studios.
yeah, super low bar.
Yeah.
But the songs turned out great, surprisingly.
So they were recorded in the greater Nashville area. Did you write them in the greater Nashville area?
The songs that came out on Colors Fade, the first album I put out last summer, it takes a while to write songs, make demos, organize them, go record them, mix, master, and then do the whole plan to put them out on social media and all that sort of thing. So it takes a long time to put out singles in an album, as I'm sure you guys are aware of. So at the time, like pretty much all the songs on there were, by this point, at least like 2 years old. So I wrote them all back in Virginia.
Connor, I think I read somewhere that it took you like 6 years writing songs, right? So this is something you've been doing for a while in Virginia, right?
Yeah, so I got my start just playing guitar in school. I started taking guitar in 7th grade and then played it in school all throughout high school. And then during college, my freshman year, I tried to write a song just for fun. I was, bored in my room and, what else am I going to do with the guitar sitting like right in the corner? I was like, I'm going to try to write a song. I know how to play some chords, so might as well try to write a song. And I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I was going to. And it turned out, it obviously is not my best song. It's never going to see the light of day, I hope. But it was not the
It's
worst.
like many people's first podcast episode, Connor. It's okay.
Yeah. Like I haven't listened to it in years, and I'm going to keep it that way. It turned out good and kind of got me the itch to keep going.
I personally, I say all the time when we do our Wednesday night episodes that I really appreciate when the words are just so clever. And so, I've been listening to a couple of songs, and the brown leaves clinging to the tree, but she's clinging to you, but in the end, she couldn't even fake a tear for you. Like I just such great words. And
Oh,
you
thank
know, yeah, what is the song where he says, if you stop telling lies about me, I won't tell the truth about you? It made me think of that, like just such
Okay.
like kind of like a slam,
Yeah, yeah,
but
yeah.
like just like a sentimental slam.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So
Oh,
I think that you do a great job with the songwriting and good imagery and great words.
yeah. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Well, let's start there for a second. What is your songwriting process like now?
I wrote a song today, so normal day, so it should be fresh in my mind. So typically, I just sit down with my guitar. I like to start out with just like playing chords, lay the groundwork of the song, I guess, in my mind. And then I put my phone down, hit record on my voice memos, so like I don't lose anything if I forget it, and just start playing the chords and start humming a melody. And then by that point, like once I get a melody that I like, I try not to think too hard, try to leave my brain out of it, and just start like thinking of words and like feelings that the melodies are bringing out. And it kind of gets a little bit different every song from there, but that's pretty much how the beginnings of the songs are like formed.
So you're starting with picking up a guitar and playing some chords, then forming a melody around that, and then forming the words around your melody.
Exactly. Yeah. A lot of people like have to have a title or a hook or something to start writing. I've just never done it that way.
So when you co-write, then are you able to adapt to different styles?
Yeah. That part's been interesting, but because I've like pretty much only written by myself, being from Virginia, like where I spent most of my time writing, not many music people around there to co-write with. So co-writing was definitely a new kind of thing for me. But I've really enjoyed it so far. I think it's cool to sit down and be creative with another person.
What was the biggest difference to you?
Having somebody else like in the room.
Just present?
Yeah, exactly. Because I feel like most of the time I'd probably sound crazy, recording something in my voice memos, but I don't really care because I'm all by myself. So it's kind of, I find myself like having to think a little bit more before like putting a phrase down or something like that when somebody else is like looking at the same Google sheet.
So does that make you more hesitant?
Well, yeah, I guess so, but it also makes me think a little bit more, I guess. So maybe it would get me to the same point as if, my normal writing style.
Do you think that once you get a deep enough connection with somebody, that hesitation will go away and you'll be more like you are when you're by yourself?
Yeah, for sure. It's kind of like I found that co-writing is kind of like a relationship, whereas some people write really well together. Some people are great at melodies. Some people are great at words and lyrics.
Some people are just Tiffany.
Well, that brings up an interesting thought I was having.
Oh boy.
Have you written with women and men? And was there one that was easier? Is one more gentle with words or feedback, or, have you noticed a difference or not an issue?
I've had three co-writes. Four co-writes with women so far.
Now you're just making things up.
There's four. I'm just counting one after the other in my head. I don't know. I feel like it's kind of like a weird dynamic almost. I don't know. I feel like girls tend to be, there's like a difference between what girls write in their songs and then what guys write in their songs.
Yours was about a truck, and
Trucks
she
and
said let's make it
dogs.
about a breakup.
I was gonna say, so like most of the guy songs are about like trucks and beers.
Dogs.
I don't really write much about that sort of thing. There's definitely a different style depending on like who's going to be singing the song, whether it's going to be from a girl perspective or a guy perspective.
Well, we mentioned the style of your music earlier being country, but I said it's kind of got that Americana type flair to it. I'm assuming that's because of where you grew up and the type of music that you experience in that area. And you said there's probably not enough people like there are in Nashville to co-write with, but I would say that that area has plenty of people to write with. It's just kind of a different style of music to probably work on, and it's probably a different type of writing process.
Yeah, no, that's for sure.
Jay, do you know how do you, okay, so let's say he was still up and coming and he wasn't in Nashville on his way. How would he have found a co-writer? Is that something you just put an ad in the newspaper?
Co-writers are us.
Yeah.
Craigslist. No, I mean,
Yeah.
obviously you get your local music scene and you want to tap into it.
Yeah.
But then there's also the heavyweights, and if you try to make a career out of it, even if you don't live in the area, you're going to want to make your way to Nashville. You're going to want to find the other professionals.
Yeah.
It's not just Nashville. I mean, LA has co-writers, New York has co-writers. But if you want to be the co-writer, in country music, you're going to want to be in Nashville for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like playing
And
in
is
the
that
big
where you
leagues.
see yourself, Connor? Country music?
Yeah, sort of.
Well, describe your style to us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm really bad at describing my style.
All right, well, that's done.
You got this. You got this, Connor.
I'm just going to try to use some keywords. I say that my genre is Americana, but I don't really know what Americana is, to be blunt with you guys.
It's acoustic instruments written in the heart of the U.S. of A.
Yeah, pretty much. It's like a big umbrella over a bunch of like subgenres, like people that don't necessarily fit specifically in one genre or another. Like it has like some R&B, some folk, bluegrass, country, like singer-songwriter stuff. So I think I fit like Americana singer-songwriter kind of style.
Right.
Yeah, it's, real instruments, acoustic, guitar heavy, and just like storytelling.
I mean, it could even include rock music. I mean, it's anything in my opinion. It's traditional instruments performed from the heart for sure.
Exactly. I like that definition. I'm gonna stick with that one.
There you go. Glad I could help you out tonight.
Appreciate
Write it down, Connor, so you have it later. Put it in your voice notes quick.
All right. You've written these songs over a period of time. Then you get to take them into these amazing studios. So I'm sure you didn't just go knocking on the door of these amazing studios and saying, let me in. There has to be somebody who connected you, some producer. So who produced your project for you?
Like I said, Colors Fade was kind of piecemealed together a little bit. I worked with one team and then a different team at like over the span of 2 years to record that project.
All right, well, let's start with the first team.
So I worked with Todd Tidwell and Kyle Lewis. They both co-produced half of the song, 6 songs. Todd Tidwell is a very talented producer. He works at Starstruck Studios in Nashville.
Reba's place.
Yeah, he knows Reba personally, and he was a very cool guy. He's super talented.
Tiffany, just for backstory, Starstruck is Reba McEntire's studio. And when she first built that studio in Nashville, right on Music Row, right next to Sony, and she has a helicopter port on the roof. And she used to fly in her helicopter and then leave. And they had to make her stop it because it was interrupting every other recording studio in the area.
For sure. Oh, my goodness.
That's funny.
Yeah,
Wow.
A little backstory. He works out of Starstruck, but took you somewhere else. So why did he take you somewhere else?
Oh, we recorded in Starstruck. So that was 6 of the songs that were recorded in Starstruck.
Okay, so Starstruck as well.
Yeah.
So did he hire the musicians as well?
So he co-produced it with a guy named Kyle Lewis, who, if you know Maggie Rose, he's the guitarist in Maggie Rose's band. We kind of got a connection, like a mutual connection through a friend like in Virginia who knew Austin Marshall, which is Maggie's husband. So we got into, we were lucky to connect with them, and we were lucky for them to work with us for 6 of the songs. They turned out great. I worked with a team called Charlotte Avenue Entertainment.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
An artist development team down here in Nashville. They were great to work with. And Will Golly produced the other 6 songs on the album.
All right. And which studio did he take you to?
That's the group that we went outside of Starstruck. So it was Starstruck and then the other 2 places.
They split their time between Dark Horse and Castle?
Yeah. They're really good at getting some cool spots to record around town.
Definitely cool. All 3 of those are amazing places. Anybody would be lucky to set foot in one of those studios, and you've been in all 3, so that's awesome. But tell us about the musicians who played on the project.
Yeah, so like I said, it was a very unique way to record an album. But the 6 songs that I recorded with Todd Tidwell and Kyle Lewis, Maggie Rose's band actually played on the 6 songs recorded there. And then the other 6 songs with Will, we just had some, very talented studio guys come in and play on the tracks.
Do you remember any of their names?
I'm never great with names. I know Chris Knoll played keys. He's been playing for, his whole life. He played with John Denver back in the day.
I get it. I've worked as an engineer in Nashville for almost 30 years, and I can tell you, when the artist comes in, they're coming in typically to sing maybe 1 or 2 songs within a book of a day. And the musicians are just churning through and through and through and through. So the artist is lucky if they even get introduced to the musicians half the time.
Yeah.
That is so crazy to me that I mean, I get it, this whole studio thing, and you want the talented people taking over, whatever, but I just don't get how the music comes alive when the band doesn't have a relationship. Clearly it works. Clearly there's no issue.
Well, you know what? I would say they have a relationship. I mean, they play with each other almost every day.
Well, the studio musicians, right? But they don't have that relationship with the artist. And so that's what always kind of just blows my mind. Like when you see people on stage, it seems like, you're kind of singing to one of the guitarists, or, you're kind of looking over to backup vocals or whatever. And it seems like there's some kind of connection and there's this great chemistry on stage and they're pulling you in, and they likely do. They've been on the road and they've, formed these relationships. Whereas it's interesting to me that the music still translates void of that relationship.
Yeah, it's kind of a unique thing for studio guys. The great studio musicians in Nashville, like they make their living playing in the studio, playing on however many songs like every single day.
It's amazing. It's just amazing to watch. I mean, they record an entire song from start to finish in under an hour.
Yeah, they try to do like a song an hour. Yeah. They just put like the sheet in front of them and then just start, doing like 2 or 3 takes, and that's about it.
Yeah. It's absolutely amazing to watch. But I think, Tiffany, to your point there, you get a band like, a rock band like a Bon Jovi or whoever, where they travel and play, world tours and travel with each other. It's the friend relationship and the charisma that they have together. It's not necessarily the musicianship, because a lot of times those type of bands may not even be the best musicians out there. In that particular band, you had some good musicians, some. However, it's the friendship and the charisma that band has together from being on the road and so forth. Where in Nashville, those musicians have that friendship and camaraderie because they're in the studio with each other, almost the same musicians in different pockets for day after day after day. But their musicianship is without flaw. So, if you want them to play something with a little more swing, you can just ask for more swing and they'll give it to you. More edge, incredible. And you got it. So I think the difference between the two is just raw passion for your art and then your raw talent to be able to produce whatever somebody tells you.
Yeah, that's a great way to explain it.
So let me ask you another question, sir. You have a song, Fake One Tear, not intended for a duet, but somehow ended up as a duet. So why don't we start by telling us how it ended up as a duet?
Sure. So that was one of the songs I wrote in my apartment in Virginia, which is like pretty much all the songs that I wrote was in there. And I initially had it like strumming and just like by myself, and I had a second verse and stuff. I came down to Nashville like a year and a half ago at this point to do like a week of co-writes and stuff. So I was sitting down in the Airbnb like the night before the co-write, the next co-write the next day. And I was with a girl named Jennifer Hart and then her husband, Robert Ricotta. I remembered his name. So I was kind of like scrolling through my songs. I was like, I wonder what song I should try to bring in. I would just start like finger picking the song and it sounded like really pretty. I was going in to write with a girl, so I was like, well, I could get the girl's perspective on the song to try to, write it from her side. And I went in with that idea, and they loved the song, they loved the melody, and we just kind of ran with it, and it turned out great. I had this great duet. it may or may not go on the album, but I really wanted to, if we could find somebody to sing on it.
All right. Well, that's my next question. How did you meet her? Mary Heather Hickman. How did you meet her?
Yeah, so I just knew her from social media, and yeah, we like followed each other for a while, and
there you go, Tiffany. That's how you find people these days.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I thought her voice was like really organic, and it felt like very real. I thought it would fit the song, exactly what I was hoping it would sound like. We reached out to her, and she wanted to be on the song, and turned out great.
It really did.
Now, after you record that song, who is the first person you call? Or after you do this collaboration, you're co-writing the song, and you're like, man, we freaking nailed it. Who gets the first call?
Well,
Come on, Connor.
my parents are very involved. I think my mom would be upset if I said my dad.
Oh,
But it's like she's very supportive. I don't want to say my dad's a little bit more musical than she is, but my dad, tries to help out with a lot of the musical decisions, like going in the studios and stuff like that. So he's a big part of it.
So, which one of them do you like better?
Not fair. Jay, which one of your daughters do you like better?
Lucy.
Yeah, can't answer that. Well, I texted them before I was jumping on here, so they're probably watching right now.
Oops, sorry,
Hey,
guys.
Mom and Dad. Mom and Dad Daly.
I'm sorry,
I love
we're having
them both.
technical difficulties.
and they're both very supportive, and I'm lucky to have them.
All right,
Oh,
fair enough. We'll let you slide on that one.
yeah.
Tiffany asks those hard questions all the time. I tell her not to do it.
I was going to ask, did you use any of those studios? I mean, they all look so cool. Were any of them in your videos?
No.
No?
So, one of the things like going forward, I've always been really bad at social media and like planning ahead on like getting content while I'm doing like musical things.
Yeah.
That's kind of the plan for this year. So I'm going in the studio next month, and I'm gonna record a bunch of like
B-roll.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Lot of content.
Yep.
Things move way too fast when you're in the studio for you to divide your attention. You would need somebody else to do it for you.
Exactly. Yeah, it goes by so fast, especially when you've got a bunch of studio guys. Just,
Yeah, and if you get a room booked for, say, 15 hours, 15 songs you're going to knock out in that day, and then you're only 3 of those songs, you can't stop that train from moving. You just can't. You got to go in, be right there, ready for that light to turn red and go.
Yeah, it's definitely a well-oiled machine that it's hard to stop.
Well, maybe your dad, who you clearly favor, could come up and help you.
Yeah,
Because what do the moms do? The moms do nothing.
I was saying, he favors his mom, so I get that.
favor them both.
We're trying to help you out here, buddy. See, it obviously appears as if you favor them equally.
Yeah.
All right. As Miss Tiffany talks about backdrops for your videos, you have another video, Worked Harder, and it's in front of a cabin. So where'd you find the cabin?
We found it on Airbnb, and
Nice.
we got it for a night, but nobody stayed the night there. We just went in the afternoon and recorded like at sunset, and then like a little bit into night. Yeah, it was Johnny Cash. It was like a Cash's cabin or something like that.
Nice.
And I think it was like actually his that he had or something.
That's
back in
awesome.
the day. So it was like all decorated with Johnny Cash stuff on the inside. It was cool.
All right. So, sir, what's it like being in your 30s?
I'm not in my 30s. Not quite.
2 days ago. Wasn't it your birthday 2 days ago?
I turned 26.
26, Tiffany, man,
Yeah.
you're way off, girl.
I'm pulling up your
even close.
Instagram
That's
right
not-
now,
That is
Connor.
not
I
even
was worried people were
close.
going to get confused because I said another year closer to 30, #4 to go. And I was like, I don't know if people are going to understand that, but
Tiffany, you're fired.
You are out. You may as well just go away.
Tiffany, you're fired. Goodbye.
Oh, Tiffany.
You heard the man.
All right.
Well, happy birthday.
Yeah, well, no, forget his birthday now. Come back
He
in
still
4
gets
years.
to be happy birthday.
4 years when he's 30.
Happy birthday, Connor.
Happy birthday, Connor.
Wait, were you in Kentucky?
No.
Again, in your story, you had Jack Daniels.
Yeah. It's in
Yeah?
That's
Bluebird,
Tennessee.
Oh. I didn't realize any of that was in Tennessee. Because
Yeah,
that's whiskey,
like
not
they're-
bourbon. That's why.
Yeah, it's like that's like the one plant where they make all their whiskey.
Guys, I pay for this blonde. But
You really don't have to. Oh, I love you so much. All right. We mentioned your parents earlier. We do this thing here we call Unsung Heroes, where we take a moment to shine the light on somebody who may have worked behind the scenes or supported you along the way. Is there anybody you'd like to shine a little light on?
Yeah, of course. Can I say both my parents again?
You can, absolutely. Don't get yourself in trouble now.
All right. They've both been super supportive and helpful to get me to this point. You know, I definitely wouldn't be doing music probably, even if, you know, they weren't there to support me and listen to a lot of the bad songs that I've written along the way. I would like drive home from school. I lived like 35 minutes away. So I'd drive home, my mom would cook some dinner, and I'd play some new songs. So they kept me motivated to keep writing and keep going. Yeah, and I wouldn't be here without the both of them.
All right. Well, we have done it. We've reached the top of the hour. We've actually blown past the top of the hour, which does mean we have reached the end of the show. So if you've enjoyed the show, tell a friend. If you have not, Miss Tiffany,
tell two.
tell two. You can reach out to all of us over at jfrenzy.com. We will be happy to keep this conversation going. Miss Tiffany, my friend, you have anything you'd like to leave us with?
Yes, looking forward to seeing Connor Daly on Daly's Place stage in Jacksonville, Florida. Book it. First place, let me know. We'll be there. I'll be following on social, so I'll already know you're going to be there.
Nice.
Okay, sounds good.
Connor, sir, we'd like to leave the final words to you.
So you can find me at Connor Daly Music on pretty much any social platform. And then I got a website, ConnorDalyMusic.com, if you want to be up to date on music and shows and stuff like that at Connor Daly. I'll see you guys there.
All right,
Awesome.
folks. On that note, have a good night.
Thanks for listening to The Jay Franzi Show. Make sure you visit us at jfranzi.com. Follow, connect, and say hello. This episode has been brought to you by VR Knives, your source for 100% custom knives made by a true rock star. So, if you're in the market for a new piece of art, reach out to VR Knives. 407-421-5528. 407-421-5528.